while the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection has been available digitally since Halloween. It will soon be available as a physical release across multiple platforms in Standard, Deluxe, and Collector's editions. Personally, I didn't want to do a rush job review back when it first became available because I wanted to be able to actually spend some time with it to have a better overall outlook on it. While the games in the collection range from arcade replicas, home console ports, and handheld versions, for the purposes of this video, I'm primarily going to focus on the arcade games plus MK Trilogy. However, by this point, I have touched on just about every game in the collection, so if you have any questions about the others, feel free to drop them in the comments. I've got to say that one of my favorite things about the Legacy Collection is the overall aesthetic and presentation. In my opinion, you can tell that the guys involved have a great passion for these games and, well, the legacy behind them. The interactive documentary is filled with pictures, music, videos of the original footage used to make the game, plus all new interviews with Ed Boob and many of the creators. The menus you use to move between each section and each game definitely keep that classic feel. Beyond that, I can't deny that the beginning of the digital release had some issues. I'm playing on the PlayStation 5, and at launch, there was some noticeable input delay. Thankfully, that has been improved quite a bit since then. The games also keep the original difficulty levels for the single-player modes, which can be pretty challenging. But that's how I remember them from back in the day. Other versions have received an update that lets you adjust how tough the games can be, but there's a chance that feature won't be available on every platform by the time the physical release comes out. That update will also include online mode additions for lobbies and such, but still not cross-play between consoles. One of the complaints about online matchmaking is that with so many available games spread across so many platforms, it's hard to find matches on the game you want. I haven't actually played online St. All myself, so I can't speak directly on such difficulties from own experiences. I've been happy with a single-player experience since that's mostly what I was used to from my youth. While I did play some in the arcades and pizza parlors, most of my Mortal Kombat experiences in my teenage years came from the home console versions. When it came to the first Mortal Kombat, I never actually owned it myself. Instead, a couple of my friends did, so I just went to their homes to play it. One friend had the SNES version while the other had it on the Genesis. Of course, the latter was the better of the two due to maintaining the blood effects. From this point forward in the video, you will be seeing my actual gameplay from the collection. Each game will just be the arcade versions, with the exception of Trilogy since, of course, it was exclusive to the home consoles. Back in the old days of the original Mortal Kombat, I actually started off as a Sub-Zero main, but would often play with the rest of the roster somewhat equally. Scorpion was still a strong second, though. The only one I was never actually any good with was Kano. To show my gameplay, I chose not to use either of the filters or border options. Instead, I wanted to focus on the purest imagery as possible for the games themselves. I will admit that the filters do help hide the rougher pixelated edges, though. I do like having the move list on the side just for easy reference, and I have the one-button fatality option turned on. While I do like the game pretty close to the original experience, I'm happy with some casual conveniences such as those. I have ended up using the rewind feature fairly often, but I edited those instances out of the gameplay videos for the sake of a shorter length of time. Similarly, I'm only going to show one match per game just so I can hit the main beats as I go, for the most part. I would say that the original game is the hardest, but that's partially due to just how limited the technology was compared to later iterations. Like, I totally forgot that you cannot jump over your opponent and turn around to kick them from behind. MK added that in though along with more moves per character. This is the one I owned on Sega Genesis, so it was the one I was most used to for a long time. By this point, Scorpion had become more equally played with along with Sub-Zero. I was able to maintain my dominance among my friends no matter which of the characters I used. MK does play a lot smoother than the original, and pretty much still clearly better than it in every way. While I'm showing the arcade version here, I did go and play the Genesis version a bit, and doing so absolutely brought back memories of owning it back in the day. There was plenty of days where I would come home from school and go straight into running a full tower. Before it was over, I was able to run through and win with just about anybody. Scorpion definitely became my dominant main within MK2, though. Nothing was better than hearing him yell, "Get over here," once the spear connected. His absence in vanilla MK3 was very noticeable. The addition of the run button along with the dial combos made me feel like I had to relearn half the game. I was thrilled to see him back in Ultimate MK3, but I personally didn't play that version very much. However, once Trilogy was announced for the original PlayStation, I knew I had to have it. MK Trilogy is still my all-time favorite Mortal Kombat game to date. Others are still great for sure, but when I think Mortal Kombat, this game showcases the imagery and sounds that I immediately think of. The character designs, the Shao Kahn voice, everything. If nothing else, having Trilogy as a playable game on modern consoles is worth the price of admission for me. While I'm still a bit out of practice on it, I'm betting the records will show this as what takes up most or my time. So yes, if you're an old school fan of Mortal Kombat and you want it on modern consoles, it is absolutely worth it. Especially since they're continuing to update and adjust things based on player feedback. Granted, I do think it should have had a better release experience, but I'm glad that the issues are being worked on. If you're one who's waiting for the physical release and online lobby updates, then I think you'll be pretty happy with the end results of the Legacy Collection. Thank you for watching Civilian Entertainment, a collector's commentary. My name is Seville, and this channel is the evolution of Civilian Collectibles, where I began by reviewing action figures and collectibles. However, the stories don't stop with just the toys. They connect back to the movies, TV shows, and video games that shape pop culture itself. Here, I dive into the history, impact, and nostalgia of franchises like DC Universe, Mortal Kombat, and WWE. Whether you grew up in the arcades, the toy aisles, or in front of a VHS player, this is where those memories come to life again. The voice that you hear is generated by artificial intelligence, but it is still a clone of my own voice. Personally, I struggle with speech impediments and other disabilities that can make creating videos such as this more challenging than average, so Maya Eye Companions help with that to make all of this that much more efficient. The Lionhead logo was created by Brian LeBlanc Fantasy Art, and all music has been created by RJ Hughes. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content from me.